Welcome to my channel all about finding joy while living with autoimmune disease. I'm so glad to have you here. So today I'm going to be talking about what to do if you cheat on the autoimmune protocol on the AIP. So I often get DMs on Instagram saying, Shanna, help me. I fell off the AIP wagon. I'm struggling to get back on it. I'm suffering with these autoimmune symptoms. What do I do? And so I thought I would go ahead and make a video and write a blog post all about what I recommend doing if you cheat on the autoimmune protocol, whether on purpose or on accident. Here are some tips that will help you through that. First of all, you might be saying, wait, hold up a minute. What about the 80-20 rule? Why do I have to be on the AIP 100% of the time? So I was a big believer in the 80-20 rule prior to hitting my rock bottom and starting the AIP. And so I know all about the 80-20 rule. I lived it for a lot of years. I will say that the autoimmune protocol is different. And so I will link down below if you're not quite familiar with all of the ins and outs of the AIP. You can read that article and learn about why it's important, why it is most effective when it is 100% of the time. First of all, offer yourself a lot of love, understanding, support, and forgiveness. Okay, so you fell off the AIP wagon. It's okay. You're human. You're not perfect. It happens to a lot of people. So please do not beat yourself up. Please do not stress yourself out. What happened, happened. You cannot go back and uneat whatever you ate that is making you feel how you're feeling now. Also, stress can be a huge autoimmune trigger. So you don't want to get all stressed because you feel like you messed up, and then that stress causes more of your symptoms to flare. And so it's okay. Let's not worry about what happened. Let's move forward. However, I do encourage you to try to understand why. So if you did cheat on purpose, I encourage you to think about why you did, what triggered that, and really understanding the why can help you move forward and be more successful in the future. For example, if you know you were emotionally eating when you cheated and that's what caused it, then that can help you understand and move forward so that you don't do that again. So an example would be, now you know, okay, I need to find a healthier coping mechanisms so that when I feel that stress or that anger or that bitterness or that hurt or that sadness or that grief or whatever negative emotion that you're feeling that's causing you to want to emotionally eat, and believe me, I've been there, I know how that goes. Emotional eating is something I struggled with a lot of years, and occasionally I still will. But I will say that replacing that emotional eating with a healthy coping mechanism can make all of the difference in the world. And really, it's up to you to figure out what works best for you. I have an article on healthy coping mechanisms, so I will link that down below. Another example that could help you is if you're emotionally eating because of some past trauma that you need to work through. This can be a wake-up call, like, okay, I need to work through that so that I can move forward in my healing process, so I can move forward in my wellness journey. And there's no shame in that. I carried around some emotional trauma that I had to work through, and I needed a professional to do it. Maybe it's something that you can work through on your own. I know that in my case, every investment I made in that emotional healing was 100% worth it. So again, offer yourself a lot of love and support. You are not a failure. Even if you did this on purpose, you're not a failure. It's okay. Again, beating yourself up is only going to make the situation worse. So I encourage you not to do that. You know, it's really common as we fall short of our expectations, which are typically very, very high expectations, that we tend to beat ourselves up. And so when we do fall short, let's choose to talk to ourselves in a loving way and in a supportive way. And that's going to help us on our journey. That's going to help us move forward and not dwell on what happened yesterday or the day before or last week or last month or last year. We can't go back and change that. But what we can do is we can learn from it and we can move forward. Next, forgive yourself. So we are often our own worst enemy. It's really important to keep in mind the big picture. Really, in the scheme of things, this is not a big deal. It's not. It's going to be okay. And so when we keep in mind that big picture, when we stop and we recognize the things that we are doing right, let's forgive ourselves. It's okay. We're not failures. Also, keep in mind that our children are learning from our example more than any words that we say. And so I know that one thing I really want to teach my children is to forgive themselves. And I can tell them to forgive themselves, but if they see me continually criticizing myself, being hard on myself, not forgiving myself, are they going to learn from my words or from my example? They're going to learn from my example. And that's an example that I don't want to set. And that's an example I became very mindful of a number of years ago. And so since then, I try to be very, very careful with how I treat myself, with how I talk to myself, and especially the way I forgive myself, because I want my children to love, support, and forgive themselves. And so next, give yourself credit for everything you are doing right. Do you even know how freaking amazing you are? You are amazing. You are doing so many things right. You have been through so much, and you're still standing, and you're still trying, and you're still trying to pick yourself up again after you fall down. So you own that. You should be proud of that. You are awesome. Recognize every little effort that you are making. Celebrate every little success that you achieve, and own your story, both the good and the bad. None of our stories are perfect. A lot of our stories have ugly and messy and nasty parts, and that's okay. I may struggle with different things that you struggle with, but we both struggle, and we both need to really focus on the things that we're doing right, so we're not beat down by the things that we're not doing right. If this is something that you struggle with, I encourage you to write down tonight. Write down 10 things that you did today that you can be proud of. Write them down. It doesn't have to be like eloquent. It doesn't have to be full on sentences. Just make a list. These 10 things I did that I can be stinking proud of today. And you know what? At my rock bottom, I started this, and it was things like I got out of bed. And to a lot of people, that may sound like nothing, but to me, I knew how hard it was to get out of bed that day. And I got out of bed, so I'm gonna freaking own it, and I'm gonna celebrate it. Own your success, and keep making that list every night until you habitually recognize your own awesomeness, because you are awesome. Next, know you are not alone. So I receive DMs regularly on Instagram from our autoimmune sisters saying, "Help, Shanna, I messed up, I'm having symptoms now," and they're in a panic and asking me for help. In fact, that's why I'm filming this right now. That's why I wrote this article for you guys, so that when I get those, I can be like, "Oh, no worries, I've got your back. Here's an article, here's a video, these are my tips." Okay, so you're not alone. Autoimmune protocol is hard. The AIP is hard. It requires breaking bad habits. And not only that, it requires developing new habits, healthier habits. That alone is so hard. And then you try to do that when you're not feeling well. Oh, bananas, it is so hard. And so really, it's okay, you're not alone. There's so many of us who struggle as we start AIP, who struggle as we try to learn how to, eat healthier, how to eat clean, how to live better, working on all the lifestyle things too. It's hard. And so know that you're not alone. There are so many of us who struggle. Please know there is no limit to the number of times you can start or restart the autoimmune protocol. You can start it as many times as you need to. You can restart it as many times as you need to. So don't think that there's like a limit. Next, think of your autoimmune symptoms as feedback. Okay, so you stopped eating AIP for a meal, or for a day, or for a week, or for a month, or for a year, however long, and your autoimmune symptoms came back with a vengeance. Okay, autoimmune symptoms suck. There's no way around it. They're just horrible, and I'm so sorry that you're going through this, but it can be very empowering if we think about our autoimmune symptoms as feedback. And what I mean by that is some of the questions that you can ask yourself is, what did I eat that was non-AIP, and how long did it take my symptoms to come back? Are my symptoms as bad as they were prior to me starting AIP? How long after eating that non-AIP food did it take for my symptoms to reappear? And how long did it take those symptoms to go away once I started eating AIP again? And so many more questions that we can ask ourselves. Okay, so now you know this. Well, you can think about this if you want as an experiment. You experimented with whatever foods that you tried to eat that were non-AIP, and bam, you got some feedback. Is it fun feedback? No. Do you wish you hadn't gotten this feedback? Yes, but it's feedback. And so now you can move forward in your journey knowing what you know now through this experience. In other words, try to spin this whole experience into something positive, into something that's going to help you and inspire you and motivate you. It's a reminder of how great you feel when you eat meat and lots of veggies and healthy fats and some fruit. And that's awesome feedback. Okay, so next tip for what to do if you cheat on the AIP: hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So one of the coolest roles of water in the body is it flushes toxin and it removes waste. So stinking cool. So grab your favorite water bottle, fill it up, and aim to drink about half of your body weight in water every day. The next tip, allow yourself time to rest. Oh, I know it's so hard to do. As a busy woman, wife, mother, it's so hard when my symptoms flare, making myself rest. But it really is so important. Remember, our symptoms are feedback, right? And so we need to learn to listen. And one way that we listen is we allow our body time to rest and to recover. So try to ignore those dishes. Don't look at those piles of laundry, and try to cancel what plans that you can so that you can have more time to rest and recover. I know it can be so tempting to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, but I'll tell you where pushing and pushing and pushing my body got me. It got me nowhere I ever want to be again. It got me to my rock bottom. And so now I know that if I take the time today to rest, then usually I'll feel better tomorrow. And that's not, obviously it depends on, well, the severity of the flare I'm in, the severity of my symptoms. I don't get as bad of flares as I used to get. So I'm not saying that if you rest today, I promise that you'll be better tomorrow. Everybody's different. I don't know what your journey's like, what your situation's like, what your symptoms are like. All I'm saying is to take it a day at a time and just rest as you need to. Next tip, communicate with your loved ones. Ugh. This one is still so hard for me. So that sound of like nails on a chalkboard? That's what like this feels like to me. Like I have such a hard time when I feel those symptoms come back, when I know I need to cancel plans or make, changes to our schedule, or I need help. It is still hard for me after all of this time to go to my husband and be like, look, babe, I'm not well. I need to rest. I need to cancel this. I need your help with this. So I haven't figured out how that becomes easy. I don't know if it's just me or if that's hard for everybody, but just know that if it feels hard for you to go to your husband or your loved ones and say, I'm not well, I need help, I need to rest, this is what I need, please know that you're not alone, that is very difficult for me still. However, I will say that it is so incredibly important. Communication is so incredibly important as we learn to find joy and live well with autoimmunity. I know that for me and my marriage, my husband needs to know how to best support me and help me, and he wants to. I try to keep in mind that he loves me and that he wants to help me. And sometimes he doesn't, most of the time he doesn't know how unless I tell him. I encourage you, as you're learning to communicate with your loved ones as you feel unwell, to try to think of specific ways that they can help you. Whether it's, can you please do this load of laundry? Or can you please take our son to his baseball practice? Or can you please pick up dinner for you and the kids and I'll just eat, AIP leftovers at home? Or whether it's, can you please hold me? Like in any of those things, keep in mind that your loved ones love you dearly. They want to be there for you. They want to help you, but they may not know how. And don't forget to express love and appreciation for their love and support. Make sure that they know how much you appreciate them, how much you appreciate their help and love and support. Next tip, self-care. Practice lots of self-care. So if you need some self-care ideas, I wrote a whole article about this. I have a whole video about this. It's called Self-Care for Autoimmune Flares. I will link it down below and you can check that out if you need some ideas. Also, think about essential oils. So a lot of times when I get these DMs, from people saying, I fell off the AIP wagon, help, well, there's anxiety and, and fear and a little bit of panic. And so essential oils can be very, very beneficial, I found in my experience. If I'm feeling some anxiety, I love lavender or frankincense. If I have, some digestive issues or discomfort, I love like a digestive blend. So I will link a couple of my favorites down below, but just keep in mind essential oils can be very, very beneficial too. Okay, so now that we've kind of got the self-care, and the mindset tips out of the way, what about moving forward? How can we prevent this from happening again while we're on the elimination phase? And one way is to consider AIP friendly cheats. I know cheats were a big part of my life prior to starting AIP, and one thing even though I don't cheat off of the AIP now, so just so you know, I am on the AIP still, but I am in the reintroduction phase. So I have a handful of reintroductions, but I still say I eat AIP because it's just easier than saying I'm AIP with this, all these reintroductions. So anyway, one thing that I do is I stay on the AIP with the reintros I have, but I think I find AIP friendly cheats. And so there's a lot out there that are packaged AIP friendly cheats, or there's a lot of amazing recipes. You can make your own. A few of my favorite, I love Paleo on the Go's carob and cream vanilla cake is what it's called. Thankfully, I think it's pretty pricey, and so I don't buy it too often. I buy it like for my birthday or for like some other special thing, but I love it. I don't share it with anybody. I keep it in my freezer and I take a piece out as I need to. It is so good. So I will link that. I actually love Paleo on the Go so much I signed up as an affiliate. So I have a discount code for you, and then I get a little bit of a commission at no additional cost for you if you buy something. So you can use code Shanna for $15 off if you want. I also really love their carob chunk cookies. Those are really good. I actually eat those straight out of the freezer. Also, I just found a new AIP cheat that I love. Well, the company's called Jack's Paleo Kitchen, and they make like a few different flavors of the AIP friendly cookies. I've only tried one. I've only tried, well, the snickerdoodle one, and they're really good. So check those out if you're interested in that. Also, my favorite source for like homemade AIP treats and sheets is Michelle Hoover of Unbound Wellness. So she has a new cookbook that just came out a couple months ago. It's called the Autoimmune Protocol Comfort Foods Cookbook. I love it. It is amazing. My favorite recipe out of there is her Mongolian beef. It is so good. It reminds me of like a P.F. Chang's type of dish. Oh my gosh. It totally tastes like a cheat meal to me. It's not. It's totally AIP, but it tastes like it. So I've learned that I just have to like retrain my brain and just like find AIP cheats and treats that I love. I obviously do not eat them every day because I do not feel as well when I do eat them more often. I find if I just eat them every so often, it doesn't faze me at all. I'm totally fine. But if I were to eat them every day, I'm sensitive enough where it would affect me. Also, I really love cassava chips. Artisan Tropic is my favorite brand, and I love plantain chips. Trader Joe's has these plantain crisps that I tried for the first time last week when I was in California, and they are amazing. So check those out. I have a whole blog post on AIP Snacks. I will link that down below too. So just kind of try to retrain your mind on how to think about cheats and find some like AIP desserts and treats that you're just like bananas about. Next tip, consider reintroductions. So maybe it's time to reintroduce some foods if you're feeling like you've been on AIP, especially if you feel like you've been on AIP and you've seen a lot of improvement. It's time to maybe reintroduce some foods. Just make sure that you are doing it systematically, that you're doing it slowly. Remember, the AIP is not meant to be a long-term diet. This is not like an AIP elimination phase like for the rest of your life. No, it's like, let's reintroduce some yummy, nutrient-dense foods, add some variety. And so maybe did you cheat or did you fall off of the AIP wagon because you needed to spice things up, because you needed to reintroduce some foods? So think about that and just make sure that you take reintroductions like slowly and in a way that you'll be able to tell if you have a reaction or not. So last but not least, reach out for support. So I am here for you. There's other AIP bloggers and YouTubers who are so supportive too. I am cheering you on so loud. I believe in you. I love you. Please don't worry about what happened in the past. Just move forward. Living with autoimmunity is hard. I know it is, but it really is worth it as we learn how to eat in a way that supports our autoimmune health, as we learn how to live in a way that supports our autoimmune health, and also make sure that you're addressing all of these AIP lifestyle factors as you're trying to recover from the autoimmune symptoms that you may be experiencing. Those are my tips, what to do if you cheat on the autoimmune protocol, whether you did on accident or on purpose. I hope these tips helped you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do publish new videos every week, so if you don't want to miss any, hit subscribe, and I hope that you have an amazing week.